podcast is specially created for students of class 10, 11, and 12 who are navigating board exams, pre-boards, practicals, and maybe even competitive exam. If you have ever felt nervous before an exam, if you've ever compared your marks with a friend, or even if you have thought, what if I fail? Then this episode is just for you. Today we are talking about exam pressure, what it is, why it happens, and how you can handle it like a champion. And to guide us through this important discussion, we are honored to have with us Dr. Poonam Devdutt. Dr. Poonam Devdutt, MPhil PhD, is a consultant psychologist, organizational trainer, and director of the Center of Psychology and Human Behavior at Shobit Institute of Engineering and Technology. She works in HRD training, schools consultancy, psychological testing, counseling, and teaching psychology and HRD. In 30 years of experience, she has conducted more than 500 workshops for schools, organization, and Indian Army. She has received several awards, including Nari Shakti Samman, Merit Ratan, and Sri Shakti Award. So to start with this podcast, my first question to you, ma'am, is what is exam pressure and why do students in class 10 and 12 feel it so strongly?
Thank you for your question. Very important question. To explain what is exam pressure is a kind of a fear, or you may say it is an anxiety regarding the outcome and regarding the performance. So if the student is wondering, will I be able to perform well? What marks will I get? What will people say? And because of that, he is tense, he's anxious, he's fearful, and sometimes he may not even be able to concentrate on his studies because the fear and the anxiety is taking up too much of his mind space. Your next question as to why it happens. There are several reasons why students experience exam pressure, particularly in class 10 and 12. Some of the reasons are that schools also create that pressure. Parents also create that pressure because they feel that only under pressure the student will be able to perform well. Schools sometimes create pressure because they also want the result to be exceptional because the school's reputation depends on that. Parents also feel anxiety. They feel that if the child does not perform well, what will happen about his future? Will he get admission in a good college or school? What will be his career, etc.? Apart from these extraneous factors, one of the major reasons why the stress is there is because the stakes are high. So it is a fact in our educational system that much of the child's future career depends upon his class 12 results. Of course, class 10 is important because it is the first public exam. Till class 10, the student has been competing with his own classmates, maybe 50, 60, 70 students. Now, for the first time, he is going to be competing at an all India level with lakhs of students. So that is one cause of pressure. Secondly, in class 12, it's a fact that much of the syllabus of the competitive exams, whether it is for engineering or medicine or any other, is dependent upon the syllabus of class 12. In many institutes, the performance in class 12 itself forms the basis for admission to institutions of higher learning. So as I said, the stakes are very high particularly for class 12, and that itself becomes a cause for the stress. And then, of course, the stress of learning, completing the syllabus, and then whether they are able to complete the syllabus on time and perform well in the exam. So all these factors together combine to form the total stress burden on the student.
Thank you so much, ma'am. My next question would be, why do board exams feel like CBSE, ICSE, or state board feels like so life deciding?
Life deciding. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is the same, what I just mentioned, that many of the syllabi of competitive exams are based upon the syllabus of class 12. So that class itself, that syllabus itself becomes very crucial to the future performance. So if a person has studied well in class 12, he is likely to perform better in the competitive exams. And a large number of students do enter into the competitions in India uh, for engineering, for medical, as well as for other institutions of higher learning. So that is why this exam becomes so sometimes threatening and sometimes challenging, simply because it is important for the future career of the child. A child who performs well in class 12 is likely to have smooth sailing in the future. Somebody who does not perform well in class 12, that handicap remains with him. Also, another factor why this is important is that in the biodata of a student, the class 12 and very often the class 10 marks are always mentioned. So whatever you score in your class 10th and 12th, that's going to stay on the biodata always. So that's another reason why children are very, very concerned about their 12th results.
Thank you, ma'am. So my next question is anxiety normal? Is it normal to feel anxious before exam?
Yes, I can say it is completely normal. You see, whenever we are undertaking a task, the result of which is very important. You know, if that result goes well or whether the result goes badly, that result is very important. In any such task, there will always be anxiety because there's always an apprehension. I hope I will be able to perform as well as is required. Or there will be a fear. In case I fail or in case I do not do well, what will happen? So, in such a situation, it is normal and natural to feel anxiety. Also, wherever in any situation where we feel that we are being tested, any normal human being will feel anxious because the outcome is uncertain. So, a certain amount of anxiety is normal. However, stress becomes maladaptive when it becomes excessive. And how do we know that it is excessive? Excessive stress is that which hinders our performance. So we may say there are two kinds of stress. To a certain extent, a certain amount of stress helps you to improve your performance. Let me explain with the help of an example. Now, why do children study? Do they study for knowledge? Yes, they do. But they also study to get a good result, right?
Yeah.
So if they know
Yes,
that
ma'am.
there is going to be an exam, then and they're going to be judged, then the stress will be higher. But a certain
Agree.
amount of stress will motivate them to study harder so that they score well. So when there's a certain amount of anxiety, the student says, no, I must do well. I cannot let my parents down, or I cannot spoil my own reputation. Then that will be a motivator to make him study harder. Hmm? So a moderate amount of stress enhances performance. But if this stress becomes so much that it hinders with his performance, so you may have seen that many a times a student a day before the exam, he falls ill, he starts having loose motions, or gets fever, or gets a very splitting headache, or
Mhm.
he goes to the examination hall and he blacks out. So that means the stress has become excessive. Or if a child is falling ill, or if a child is not able to focus simply because he's so anxious, his thoughts are racing, he's so anxious that he's not able to focus at all. That is where the stress becomes maladaptive. And that is what we categorize as excessive stress. So a certain amount of stress is helpful, but when the stress becomes excessive enough to hinder the performance, then it becomes maladaptive.
As you said, that student gets, very sick, ill right before exam. So that brings me to the next question. Why do students sometimes what are the common physical signs of exam anxiety? You just said it's like fever and all, but are there more physical signs of exam anxiety?
Yes, when anxiety becomes excessive, then it is felt in the body. So mild
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, you only feel it in the mind. You are worried, your thoughts are, you're questioning yourself, and the thoughts of uncertainty are there. But when anxiety becomes excessive, it turns into physical symptoms. So there may be trembling, his hands may be very cold, hands may start sweating, heartbeat the heart will be racing. So these are some signs of stress. This may happen to him just before the paper is given to him, or at home before an exam, maybe a couple of days before, or whenever.
Mm-hmm.
Stress may cause headaches, stress may cause loss of appetite. He doesn't feel hungry, not able to eat. Sometimes it may be the opposite. Some people under stress will eat a lot.
Stress eating.
Sometimes, yes, sometimes the student may not be able to sleep well at night because of the anxiety. His sleep may become disturbed. So these are different symptoms. It is not
Mm-hmm.
necessary that all symptoms will be present in one person. Different people, for some, the stomach may be affected. For some, it may be a headache. For some, it may be restlessness. That means they're not able to sit and concentrate. So inability to concentrate is another symptom of high anxiety or stress. Or just before he's moving into his to the examination hall, he may have sensations in the stomach, which we describe as butterflies in the stomach,
Mm-hmm.
hmm? Or cold and clammy hands. So a whole range of symptoms are present. Yeah.
So are these stress also like that brings me to the next question. So are these stress also increased when there's a comparison with their friends?
Yes, comparison with friends may not uh, lead to most of these symptoms, but comparison with friends may affect his thoughts, in the
Mm-hmm.
sense that when his parents tell him that, see, your friend scored so much and you haven't been able to do that, the effect of that is that, of course, again, different students may react differently. Some, for some, it will be a source of shame and humiliation, that they will feel ashamed that, oh, my friend is scoring better and my marks are not so much and my parents are not happy with me. For others, it may be a source of anger. Or if this happens repeatedly, and if again and again parents make that remark, then it may cause a lot of anger. Because why? Because the student feels helpless. Let us presume that he's doing his best, but still he may not be able to score as well as another child. And if parents then keep comparing, then that helplessness and frustration turn into anger. There have been cases where, uh, extreme cases, where a case where a child killed his classmate simply because his parents were always comparing him to that child. So it can go to that extent. But of course, this is an exceptional case. I don't say that this is common. This happens once in a blue moon. But by
Mm-hmm.
and large, it will either lead to shame and embarrassment, or it will lead to helplessness. And that helplessness may lead to frustration and anger. And in another way, in a general way, it may lead that friend to that person, that child, to dislike that friend. He will start disliking that friend simply because his parents are kind of favoring him. Yeah,
Okay. And does social media also adds up to such exam pressures?
it may. Yes, it may. Number one, if the child is misusing social means he's spending too much time on social media and therefore not giving enough time to studies, then that lack of study will itself create stress, because then he is falling behind in his studies. That's one. But apart from that, social media also, because what happens is that, uh, so a child who scores well puts it on social media and he gets so many likes and appreciation. And a child who is not scoring so well may, by comparison, he may himself just start comparing himself,
Mhm.
that, oh, he is getting so many likes because of his result, and I am not able to put my result on social media because I haven't done so well. Hmm? Or supposing he does put his result on social media, then he may, if he gets some unfavorable comment, then that itself becomes a source of unhappiness for him. So on social media, because there's a lot of hidden or overt comparison, so that may lead to anxiety and stress or shame. Sometimes we may have cases of cyberbullying. So where deliberately some children are teasing somebody else, oh, you didn't do well in this, oh, you did very poorly in this subject. So some people may deliberately do that just to hurt another student. So yes, definitely social media can become a source of additional stress.
Thank you. And I want to know, why do marks feel more important than learning nowadays?
Well, not just nowadays, marks have always, ever since we started having this system of marks, marks
Yeah.
have been important. The result
Mm,
again is psychological, whereas we can say that learning is more important, no doubt.
mm,
But that shows up in the long term. You know, your knowledge will show up in the long term, that you will realize that, yes, I have knowledge, so it has come in useful to me at every step. Marks, on the other hand, marks are immediate. So if you have
mm,
scored a 95%, you immediately get a lot of praise, a lot of appreciation, a lot of likes on social media. So getting good marks gives you immediate pleasure or satisfaction. And same way, getting poor marks brings immediate punishment, punishment in inverted commas. So if you have not scored well, your parents are immediately going to ask you and question you, why has this happened? Whereas whether you have, how much you have knowledge or you don't have knowledge, that will show up in the long term. So if you have good knowledge, even if you didn't score well, but you can hold a conversation, your knowledge will help you in life situations and so on. Or lack of knowledge will not show up immediately, it will show up gradually. But marks are very immediate. So you get immediate praise or punishment for the marks that you score. So more anxiety about marks.
yeah. So, how can students stop overthinking about results?
So the best way to stop overthinking is that you, just a minute. Best way to stop overthinking is that get into action mode. So supposing I feel that I am lagging behind in my syllabus. And so there are two options. One is that I just keep ruminating, oh, I haven't done it. I wish I had done it earlier. What will happen? Now my result is going to be bad. So I'm thinking about it and I'm increasing my stress. The other is I accept the fact that, yes, I'm lagging behind. Okay, now I have 2 weeks left. So what do? I divide that time, I make a schedule, and I get down to work. So the antidote to overthinking is action. So when my thoughts start bothering me, I have to get down to actual study and actual work. When I'm involved in that action, my mind is devoted to the action that I'm taking, then obviously the thinking gets in the background. So that's the way to deal with it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Lastly, I'd like to ask you, or I'd like to, like, if you have any suggestions, or maybe do you want to say something to students who will be giving the exam or who are already giving their exams right now?
Okay, so my message to students who will be appearing or who started the exams is to be focused. Do not think too much about the constitution.